Hi, librarian and teacher friends. Welcome to Innovative Storytelling with Canva. My name is Tami Parker. I'm an elementary librarian, former classroom teacher for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, content creator, blogger alongside my daughter, author and illustrator, and these are the 3 books I've written: Radiator Snowman, More and More Microwave S'mores, and Gingerbread Man's Christmas Escape. My educational background: I have a bachelor's in elementary education, master's in library science, and master's in instructional technology. And after COVID, the master's in library science and instructional technology go hand in hand like twin sisters. And this is my beautiful daughter, Billy Reinheimer, and her 2 beautiful children in the great state of Pennsylvania. She is the co-founder of Obsessed with Learning. We have Obsessed with Learning Teachers Pay Teachers store well as an Etsy store, and we're especially proud of our blog. We have over 150 some blog posts, long, lengthy readables. I mean, these things were designed to help the teacher out every week. We send them out every Sunday night with a freebie. You never know what our freebie is going to be. It could be a graphic organizer. It could be a sample of classroom decor or library decor. It's just amazing what we send out and give for free each week. But we're also, like I said, we're very, very proud of our blog, and our latest blog was Canva and narrative writing, and this is where this workshop today comes from. So if you will take a quick picture of the QR code, hop on over, grab you some tea, grab you some coffee, whatever is your preference. Sit back and enjoy, because some of the things on the blog we will not be able to cover today, and vice versa. Some things we cover today will not be on the blog, so the two go hand in hand together. And this beautiful lady, as well as our social media person, she is also my editor. She keeps me in check if I have left out a period or a question mark. She's there to direct the way. No one writes alone, and that includes her. She will not let me write alone. She makes sure that she covers everything that I write, and I so appreciate that. When she is a teacher, she is an English language arts teacher. She has taught everything from 1st grade all the way up to 12th grade, which is absolutely amazing, the career she has had. She has also written a workbook, the Advent Investigator Enhanced Workbook. It goes along with the book, The Advent Investigator. And this thing she created on Canva, totally Canva. And the cool thing about it, it's like an 8.5 by 11. Same thing as the worksheets that you would print off if you were at school. But she made them all on Canva. We saved it as a PDF, uploaded it, sent it off to Amazon, and they sent us back this beautiful book. And I'm so proud of her for that. So let's get on with the program. Thank you, Billy, for being my co-founder. Without you, I could never do all this stuff that I do. Again, she keeps me in check. I love it. So what am I passionate about? I am so passionate about finding a way to teach children to fall in love with writing like I am. I love to write. I've always loved to write, but my students have not. So I've got to convince them that they're authors. They're wonderful authors already. Take, for example, every Monday morning or every Tuesday morning when they come in with stories. They can tell you the beginning, the middle, and the end. They can tell you it is focused. It has a bunch of dramatic characters on board. It has a very thickened plot, always, of course, with their dramatic ways. And it always comes to a climatic moment, and then it has a cool resolution. And then you know what happened? This happened. They are wonderful storytellers. It's just getting them to write these words down on paper that's the problem. But Canva, I believe, is the way to get the students to write these wonderful words down. And we're going to learn more about this today as we go along. So back in the day when I was a classroom teacher, we had something called a narrative writing test. And this was a test 4th graders took at the end of the school year. The state would give them a writing prompt. It would be either a realistic narrative or it would be a fantasy narrative. We never knew what it was going to be until the day of the test. And the students, when they first come to you from 3rd grade, they have just learned how to do a paragraph. And the very next year, they were expected to write a page and a half. Now, their narrative had to be focused. It had to have a developed beginning, a developed middle with a plot, and it had to have a climatic moment. It had to have a resolution. It had to have sensory words, all these different things that you can think about that be included in a story. One child had to sit down an hour to 2 hours and write this. I have asked published authors, could you do this? And they're like, are you kidding me? Without my editor? Without other people helping me or being able to go to a computer to look up different things? You've got to be kidding me. So this was really, really stressful to my students. It was really, really stressful to me as well. So I wanted to do everything I could to help out my students. So I wanted to enhance my own writing skills. I always had a lifelong dream of becoming an author. I wanted to write that great American picture book, that kind of picture book that children go to bed at night hugging and snuggling to, and they get up in the morning and they want to read it again and again. Like the little, do you remember the little train that goes up the hill? I think I can. I think I can. That was one of my favorite books, and I always wanted to write a book like that. So while I was teaching narrative writing, I decided to further my skills, my writing skills. So I started taking, writing workshops. And these were for adults. They were not geared to teachers. As a matter of fact, I was the only teacher in the writing workshop. We had doctors, we had lawyers, we even had a truck driver, and they were developing their skills so they could write the great American novel. Now, I was developing my skills so I could write the great American picture book. And one thing I noticed that all these workshops had something in common. They wanted you to visualize your main character, and the rest of the story would naturally fall into place, as they said over and over again. That sounds wonderful. Visualize your main character, and everything else in your story would just naturally fall into place. Okay. So here I am in the writing workshop. My teacher's in front. Other students are beside me to the left and the right, and they're busy writing away. And here I was staring at a blank sheet of paper. I was feeling what my students felt. I felt the pressure from my teacher to put out a beautiful story. I felt the pressure that my peers were going to do better than me, and I was going to be embarrassed to share my story. I was freezing. I froze. I felt like they did. And all I can remember was hearing the teacher say, visualize your story and the story will come. Well, I'm visualizing, but nothing's coming but a blank sheet of paper. But however, now I have found Canva, and I have found a way to help the writers in our classroom and the writers in the library and myself as well. So with Canva, I have come up with this new theory of storytelling. Instead of starting with a pencil and paper and a blank paper, what about starting with visuals? Because when I was in those workshops, I needed a visual. I can't visualize. I realized that at the time I was having struggles with visualizing. So I for my own sake, I went out and found visuals at that time, but now Canva has the visuals for us. They have awesome library of graphics for us to use to tell stories. So let's say our main character is a snowman. So I was visualizing that in my mind, I can go to elements in Canva and I can type in snowman, and I can look at all the different visuals they have for a snowman, and I can choose the one I like. And right here I have chosen a grungy snowman. Now it looks like he's having problems because he has too many branches for, well, I don't even think his hand, here's his hands, but he has branches on his arms. So that could be a problem. Or he's grungy and no one wants to play with him. Or he's just lonely because he doesn't have any friends and he's in the deep, dark woods. So let's help out our main character. Let's give him a friend. And again, with the help of Canva, all you have to do is go into Elements, type in what you want, in this case, a baby deer, and select the one you like the best, pull him on over. So now our snowman has a friend. He has a baby deer as a friend. Well, we have to thicken the plot a little bit. We have to give him some problems. So let's have him develop a new friend, and his friend is a Yeti. Wow, I can see a problem right now. The Yeti is much bigger than the snowman. Maybe he's making the snowman feel inferior. I don't know. Maybe he's scaring the snowman. Maybe he's scaring the deer, and that's worrying the snowman. Look at all these different problems that this Yeti can cause. Wow. And now we have another problem. The sun is out. And you know when the sun comes out and there's a snowman on the scene, what's going to happen? Yes, our character is going to shrink. So now our character has shrunk down, and we still have the baby deer as a friend, but now they're the same size. Wow. Okay. So I see a big oh, whoa, wait a minute. If the snowman has gotten smaller, what about the friend? The friend didn't get smaller, did he? No, he's still big. Do you think this is a problem? I see a problem. Oh, wow. So now maybe our Yeti isn't really a Yeti. Maybe he is a snowman. Maybe he's just a blue snowman with fur. And the sun is making him shrink as well. Cool. Now the plot thickens. Let's see what's going to happen next. Ah, I see a snowstorm. Look at the snowstorm. It's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And how I actually made this, I went to Elements and I typed in snow falling. I found the animated snow and I put 3 different layers on. So it looks like there's this intense snowstorm. Now let's write a sentence. Let's look at the visuals. We have 3 friends, a deer, we have a snowman, and we have a yeti, and they're all the same size, and they're in the woods, and there is definitely a storm taking place. So what could we write? Let's see. One day, 3 friends were caught in a snowstorm. And notice we have decided to go with 3 friends. Remember in the beginning we sort of made him the enemy, but now we've changed him into the friend. And they're both small, small as the young deer, but now it's intense. Now, let's go back because when I was teaching that narrative writing, one thing the state always wanted was for their narrative to be focused. They didn't want extra fluff. Extra fluff would count against you. It had to be extremely focused on one thing. So let's go back. What if, for the story's sake, we deleted all this? What if we took out this picture, this picture, this picture, this picture, this picture, this picture, and here, and let the beginning of the story take place right here instead of the other? Now, is that a bad thing that we're going to go back and delete all these pages? Not really, because they were like the beginning. They were helping us to develop our story. So I have to teach children, if you lose something for the betterment of the story, it's okay. We're trying to make your story really, really awesome. And so let's just start our story right here. And then we could duplicate this page and go on to the next part. What are the 3 friends going to do now that they're caught in the snowstorm? Okay, our next story is going to be about a s'more. And the s'more is middle of the forest late at night. And thanks to Canva and its beautiful selection of graphics from its Elements tab, we have found a s'more and we have found this awesome picture full of details about the forest at night. And one thing about the s'more that makes it personalization is that face. If you were just looking at that s'more without the face, you would get hungry. But now you see the face, you say, oh, he's so cute. So now let the plot thicken some more. So let's add 3 friends. So 3 friends are cooking marshmallows. Well, that sounds lovely, except we have a problem. Here is Mr. S'more. Maybe Mr. S'more thinks these 3 friends are his friends, but we, as the reader, know that they're probably thinking something else about Mr. S'more. So the plot is definitely thickening. Now, one thing I've taught my students when they get ready to write, they have to go to the text and they have to click on the heading, the biggest one, and I have them, it just inserts in, and all they have to do is start typing over the word heading, of course. But if you look right here, it is dark. The heading is dark. So you've got a couple of choices. You can make the font white, and that's awesome, but when they get right here, then if the font is white, it's going to blend into the background. So what can you do to help the story out this way? What can you do to add to it? So I have taught my students, if you would go to Elements and type in white rectangle or any color that you like. It could be a light green rectangle. It doesn't matter about the color. But then if you would place it right beneath the word heading, and how you would do that, you would click on heading and right click on heading and go to layers and bring heading to the front, and now it is above the rectangle, and it's very easy to read. We don't have to change the color of the font or anything like that. It's perfect. So now the student has looked at everything, has looked at the setting, and the little friend, the s'more, and the three friends that are camping out. And let's see what the student has decided to write. In the deep, dark woods, a little s'more didn't realize his friends weren't really his friends. Ooh, that is a thick plot right there. Oh my goodness. And this could be the beginning page. Again, we could go back and just delete these pages. And again, no hard feelings, because these pages helped us to get to that awesome sentence. Now let's go with the gingerbread man. Here's a sweet little gingerbread man who has peppermint feet. He has frosting everywhere for his shape, his eyes, his mouth. He looks very delicious. Let's see how this story is going to evolve through Canva. So now our author has decided to shrink down the gingerbread man and add a kitchen. And there are so many awesome graphics on kitchens, bedrooms, living rooms. Now, the student did not put together all of this. They could add elements to it, like maybe a Christmas tree. Since this is a gingerbread man, maybe they could put a Christmas tree right here to cover it up to enhance it. But this was already made. And so all the student had to do was put the gingerbread man in the oven. Let's see what else the students is going to come up with. Now the student has added an old baker. Maybe she's leaving the kitchen. And when she leaves the kitchen, let's see what's going to happen. So now our student has decided to pop the gingerbread man out of the oven. This is awesome. The plot is thickening. He's on a stroll in the kitchen. And a new friend pops up. Now again, the student went to Elements and typed in maybe a hungry mouse and selected this mouse. Maybe the mouse wants to give the gingerbread man a piece of cheese. Maybe the gingerbread man wants the piece of cheese. I don't know if gingerbread and cheese go together or not. It's a thought. Or maybe the mouse wants to put down the piece of cheese and take the gingerbread man instead. We don't know. We're going to see how the plot thickens as we go. If you notice, the student has changed the position. The gingerbread man was right here on the left and the mouse was on the right. Now the mouse is on the left and the gingerbread man is on the right. Also, if you would notice that the student has twisted the elements slightly to make it appear as if maybe they're running. The mouse has been twisted and so has the gingerbread. Now you can see action. So let's see what the student has decided to write. Again, this could be the start. Or in this case, I do love how the story originally started out. So we could keep all this maybe here, or we could start here, writing in the details. But let's see what the student has done. The gingerbread man realized the hungry mouse did not want to share his cheese, but wanted to bite him instead. And there is no period there. So if a child shares their story with you, we have in the blog, we talk about critique day. It's where the book is shown on a big screen, and we have students who are very nice to each other. You have to be very nice. I lay out the rules in the blog about critique day. And I also explain to the students, as you heard me before, no one writes alone. We all have editors. We all have friends who suggest things. We're all working together to make the story better, because in the end, it's going to be the author on stage without the friends, without the editor. So the author is going to be in the spotlight, taking all the applause, when it was the friends and the editor who helped make the story awesome. So we really work on critique day, and they are awesome with this. In the beginning, there were little feelings. I won't say I don't want to say got hurt, but in the beginning we had to work through that. And I've told them about me. I mean, my daughter is my editor, so I can come up with some very funny stories about how she corrects me. And they think it's hilarious because a daughter is not supposed to correct the mother. The mother's supposed to correct the daughter. So in our case, it's so much fun because I call her the editor. And the editor has changed this. I said, but does it hurt my feelings? No, it doesn't hurt my feelings because in the end, I know that my name is going to be on the book. So they get the idea, and they have worked so well with that. But that is critique day, and again, that's in the blog. But if you notice right here, I changed my white rectangle a little bit. I made it transparent. I lightened it up just a little bit so you can see the kitchen behind it, but you still see the words as well. So that's another thing you can do. There's different ways to work with these stories. Okay, so what if you are teaching 5th, 6th, and 7th grade and you really don't want to work on the narrative? You want to work more on report writing. That's great too, because Canva is full of some awesome photos. I try to keep my students in Canva for safety's sake. I don't really like them going out into Google land and coming back with pictures. Sometimes they have, and sometimes they just don't match as well as the graphics in Canva. But they can do that. They can upload photos. There's no problem with that. But I really, for my sake, I try to keep them inside Canva because I have never found something that I never wanted something that I could not find in Canva. However, that's not to say I'm not a history teacher either. So you might need to add certain photos, and Canva's great on that. All right, so this one is the title page, The Great American West, and then the student writes over top of the white rectangle, or again, you can use any color you like. You can use transparency. It's totally up to you. And for time's sake, I am going to go ahead and not read this. I've already read it one time and I messed up my time. So this time I'm just going to hop through it. But you can see how beautiful the reports are. It's just amazing. It's amazing to me to watch a student who struggles in writing, and then when they add visuals to it and the writing's the last thing, how alive their writing is. It makes the world of difference, and they're so relaxed with this. I just love Canva. Canva is amazing. I feel like I found that secret to happy writing with my students. Okay, and this is one that I wanted to share with you. This is a student story, The Pirate's Tale. When he first shared it with me, there was no title, so I had to comment. And there's a little button right here that you click on and you can type in a comment. So I typed to him, love the cover, make sure to include a title to your story. So then he went back and he chose a title, A Pirate's Tale. It's so awesome. This is one that's combined. I've told them when they do combine graphics with actual photos, be careful. And he's done a great job on this. I love all how his colors combine together. I love the color palette. Everything great is great about this. Okay, so let me go to the next page. And right here is his story. With the creak of the ship's wooden deck under his boots, the pirate started a dangerous journey. He wanted to find hidden treasures buried in faraway places. Now, that's some awesome writing, but don't think that it was his first try. It took us a while to get to that, because if you see, don't forget sensory words. They bring the story to life for the reader, and then great job, much improved. And also, he worked with a friend. So if friends would go to share, say Josh is sharing with Jennifer, Josh could type in Jennifer's email address. Most likely start off with Jennifer dot and her last name, and it'll pop up and they share. They can write together at the same time. So they can be on two different computers working on the same exact story. Most of the time, this is awesome as far as collaboration goes. I've only seen a couple of fusses that happens with this, but most of the time, maybe one fuss out of 100. So this is awesome because our motto is no writer works alone, or no writer writes alone. And this story was written by, not by, but with two other students. So there were two other students sharing this story with him, even though he was the main author. They were suggesting things to him, as well as me commenting too. I love the comments because it proves, hey, I did read your story. Something else I want to share with you. This is a fun spin wheel. in the QR code, take a picture of this. But before we say that, I want you to realize that these characters are not there. When you click on, you will not see these characters. You have to type the words in yourself. So if you want to grab mine, feel free to. Also, as far as the settings, grab those because we spin the wheel. We can either do it with one student or all students, like the whole class might do a squirrel, or just one individual student might do the squirrel. But it's always fun to see how they're going to pair up. Say the squirrel is paired up with the ice palace, or a squirrel is paired up in the ancient temple, or a squirrel is found on a pirate ship, or a tree. In this case, the tree is actually a character. Maybe it winds up on the space station. They're going to take it to Mars and see if Mars will actually grow a tree. I don't know. That would be cool. That would be a great book. By the way, I'm thinking about that. I was like, oh, maybe that's my next book. We never know. I get my ideas everywhere. But take the QR code and type in characters and setting and have fun with this. Next is a template that was created by my daughter and I, and it's to help you. It's a Canva template. All you got to do is QR code, share this Canva template with your students, and it keeps them on track. It shows them where the title page is. It shows them where the beginning is, the middle, how the middle plot thickens, and then it comes in with the climatic moment page and then the resolution, and it also includes an author page because we want them to really believe that they are authors, because they really are, and we want to get them used to creating like an author page. I even have my kids now where they have created their own logo, and they put their own logo on everything to copyright it so no other student can steal their writing. Just hilarious. I love it. And then we have the Google Drive folder link. And here we have a rubric to keep the kids, what are we looking for? Because sometimes they will put elements they shouldn't, and the rubric talks about that, about keeping everything on track, keeping the story realistic to itself. You don't want a story of three little bears and Goldilocks, and all of a sudden at the end, there's a Martian. So it works on that as well. The graphic organizer is in there. The graphic organizer, I always print out and give them a copy of this because lots of times they come up to me because Canva is strict on spelling. You have to spell the word correctly in order to get the right element that you want. And the kids come up to me and say, how do you spell this? Or how do you spell that? So I print out this sheet so they can write down their spelling. Maybe a friend can help them spell a word. If you have any suggestions on how I can accomplish that, make my life better, please let me know. I am going to be in chat with you the day that this is aired. And I would love for somebody to say, give me a good suggestion on how to fix that spelling, because I didn't realize what problems they have spelling until we started working on Canva with that. And also, Radiator Snowman, we have our YouTube channel, and Radiator is the only thing we have on it right now. We're trying to expand that. We're trying to work on that. There's only 2 of us. Like I have said before, I wish there was 45 of her and 45 of me. I could get a lot done. But like I said, I am still working as an elementary teacher. I'm an elementary librarian right now, and she is busy herself. So please enjoy our first story we have published on YouTube. And we did the recording from Canva. Canva helped me out so much on that. So Canva is absolutely amazing. And last, thank you so much for attending. Again, I will be in chat with you if you have any questions or anything like that. And also, please subscribe or just go to our blog and read a bunch of our blog posts. You will be amazed at some of the things that we have covered. Like I said, there's over 150 blog posts, and most of them were written by my beautiful daughter, and because I love the graphics part. She does the writing, I'll come back and enhance it with the graphics. So the graphics is more my element on that. So kudos to her, but you will find some that I have written, and I wrote this one. I wrote Canva and narrative writing. So thank you again. It's been awesome.